Chapter 448 to 449. In the strange gaze of everyone, the flushed Tenzo hurriedly left behind Anko, seemingly wanting to get out of here as soon as possible for some reason. Kuroto naturally saw that Tenzo had deliberately led Anko away, so he also said to both Shursui and Itachi who were standing behind him, "Both of you can go. If there is anything new I find, I will let the two of you know." "Alright, Kuroto-san, we will wait." Both Shursui and Itachi nodded, and soon left in the direction of the Uchiha clan grounds. Orochimaru's quirked his eyebrow for a moment, and a hint of suspicion flashed on his disguised handsome face. Because of his keenness, Orochimaru caught a small, inconspicuous detail in Shursui and Itachi's attitude towards Kuroto. The way Shursui and Itachi followed Kuroto's instructions surprised Orochimaru. He felt that the relationship between Kuroto and the two Uchiha was slightly different from friends and colleagues. It seemed a bit like that of a superior and subordinate, and Shursui and Itachi seemed unusually respectful towards Kuroto, which surprised Orochimaru because this is very strange in his eyes. According to the information provided to him by the few spies still lurking in Konoha, Orochimaru can be quite sure that Kuroto and Shursui do not have a superior and subordinate relationship in the Umbu. As for Itachi, although Orochimaru is not aware of what position Itachi holds in the Umbu, given the fact that Itachi is next in line to the position of the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, he has no reason to be so respectful to a Hyuga of the branch family. In fact, it should be quite the opposite. Moreover, Shursui has the Manjikyu Sharingan, and since the news of Itachi's Manjikyu Sharingan has yet to be revealed to anyone, Orochimaru is quite sure that he is one of the very few alive who actually knows of the fact that even Uchiha Itachi has the Manjikyu Sharingan, which is why he is more surprised upon noticing the respectful attitude of both Shursui and Itachi towards Kuroto. Orochimaru knows that the current Uchiha Shursui and Uchiha Itachi are undoubtedly the highest fighting power in Konoha. This is also the reason why he did not try to mess around in the village this time. After all, he wouldn't want to be tortured for more than 72 hours while tied to stakes in less than a second and then again be burned to death by those black flames like the last time, right? Nor would he want to be pummeled by the giant green humanoid made of chakra or be brainwashed by Uchiha Shursui. That's why he is quite curious, and as he noticed Shursui and Itachi leave, Orochimaru can't help but ask inquisitively, "Kuroto-kun, I am very curious about the means you used to win over Uchiha Shursui and Uchiha Itachi. You wouldn't mind sharing them with your sensei, right?" Kuroto originally planned to say a few words to Orochimaru. After all, no matter how vicious the other party may be, he is still the one who taught Kuroto most of the things, and Kuroto seriously respects him. But upon noticing the hostile look of Kimimaro, an imaginary light bulb lit on the side of Kuroto's head, and after thinking a little, he suddenly changed his mind and said in an arrogant tone, "Humph, if I am stronger than both of them, they will naturally follow." Really? Orochimaru didn't really believe in Kuroto's nonsense, especially that fake arrogant tone. Others might think that Kuroto's arrogance is genuine, but as someone who knows Hyuga Kuroto quite well, he naturally saw through Kuroto's fake arrogance. At the same time, Orochimaru didn't believe in Kuroto's reasoning either. He knows that the kid has Ryumyaku in his hand, and might as well have gained a good level of control over it with the passage of time, so his strength is definitely not weak, and possibly one of the strongest in Konoha, but to be able to subdue both Uchiha Shursui and Uchiha Itachi at the same time, that's just unreasonable. In Orochimaru's eyes, apart from the leaders of the Akatsuki organization and Amatsukami, no one in the shinobi world can defeat the joint strength of Uchiha Shursui and Uchiha Itachi at the same time. Humph, obviously. Kuroto snorted, then continued with a frivolous attitude, "Orochimaru-sama, why are you still playing these children's games? Does it even make any sense to bring these dead weights with you to Konoha, knowing full well that your cover might get blown away? Especially when Akatsuki is after you?" Orochimaru did not answer, the reason being that he could feel that Kuroto's words weren't actually targeting him. Rather, they were targeting one of the kids standing behind him, so Orochimaru was quite curious about who Kuroto was targeting, and what were his intentions. And obviously, Kuroto's words worked. Kimimaro suddenly burst out with chilling killing intent, and the surroundings turned colder. Even the villagers in the surroundings subconsciously walked away because of feeling uncomfortable. Kuroto smiled inwardly. The best way to provoke Kimimaro is by ridiculing Orochimaru-sama. Orochimaru reached out his hand to stop Kimimaro, who wanted to lash out at Kuroto, then said with a sly smile, "Kuroto-kun, I feel quite hurt that you have forgotten a few things about your early genin days. Didn't you also follow me like these kids and grew up all the way?" Kuroto snorted. "But I was different from these kids even during my genin days. These kids can't even figure out anything." Then he deliberately showed an impatient expression. "Well, unlike you, I have some important things that I must take care of, and I don't have much time to waste on a nuke nin, so if there's nothing else to say, I will take my leave." After that, Kuroto didn't wait for Orochimaru to answer, and directly walked away with an indifferent expression. "Let's see if this plan of mine works," thought Kuroto all while walking away. On the other hand, Orochimaru's mood remained the same. Obviously, Kuroto's fake arrogance and frivolous attitude would not affect Orochimaru, but he was quite curious about Kuroto's attempt to incite the kids and paid attention to their individual reactions. Kimimaro was angrier at Hyuga Kuroto, but because Orochimaru had stopped him before, so he temporarily suppressed his killing intent and did not immediately rush toward Kuroto. However, in his heart, Kimimaro was determined to assassinate Hyuga Kuroto before they left Konoha. Haku still had his head down. As a result, he really did not pay much attention to what Orochimaru and Kuroto discussed. It wasn't until Kuroto disappeared from their gazes that Kimimaro asked Orochimaru with a puzzled look, "Orochimaru-sama, he dared to be rude to you so openly. Why did you stop me from teaching him a lesson?" Orochimaru lightly said, "3 Konoha Umbu are hidden, and keeping a watch over us. Had you made a move, they would have wasted not even a second to subdue you, and even attempted to take me under custody." Kimimaro immediately apologized. "Forgive me for not noticing," then covered his killing intent towards Hyuga Kuroto. Orochimaru shook his head and did not say anything to Kimimaro, but inwardly, he had a smile and thought, "So it is Kimimaro he was trying to rile up? What does this kid intend to do with Kimimaro? Sigh, his behavior is getting more and more difficult to read." At this time, Anko walked back with a flushed Tenzo, and noticing that there was no sign of Kuroto, she asked the disguised Orochimaru, "Where did he go? The one with the white kimono?" The disguised Orochimaru said, "Oh, he said that he had something very urgent to do, so he left." Anko nodded and did not question anymore. Then she escorted the 4 Oto Geikure shinobi to the night market of Konoha. Looking at the grown-up Mitarashi Anko, Hyuga Kuroto, and the third kid he met up with not too long ago, even Orochimaru can't help but reminisce the old days when he took the 3 young genin under his wing. Sometimes later outside Naka Shrine, "Kenji, man, did you hear about the duel that took place today?" asked the Uchiha guard responsible for guarding the Naka Shrine. "Of course. I heard about it, Tanaka-san." The Uchiha named Tanaka nodded, then continued, "Who would have thought that Sasuke-sama would awaken the Sharingan at such a young age? Hee, Sasuke-sama is certainly Fugaku-sama's son, and Itachi-sama's brother. Sasuke-sama too will become a very strong shinobi in the future." The Uchiha named Tanaka said, "I couldn't agree more, Tanaka-san." Kenji nodded with a chuckle. Step. At this moment, both Kenji and Tanaka heard the sound of footsteps and were on full alert. Tanaka even had a signal flare drawn out. After all, he doesn't want to become a victim similar to Uchiha Ryota, Uchiha Hideki, and Uchiha Hiragi. Soon the sound of footsteps got closer. Both Kenji and Tanaka got a closer look at the identities of the persons who came to the Naka Shrine, and then took a light breath. "Itachi-sama, Shirsu-sen, you both come to the Naka Shrine at such an hour?" Itachi nodded and said, "Good work, Kenji-san. Tanaka-san, the reason for coming to Naka Shrine at this hour is actually very important. We have something we have to check. It won't take very long, we can take a look, right?" Tanaka hurriedly nodded. Yes, of course, take your time. If there is any way in which we can help your search, then please don't hesitate to ask us, Itachi-sama." Itachi nodded then said, "It's all right, there is no need to worry. Both of you can take a good rest, we will be here for some time, and don't worry, we know what we are looking for, so we can find it ourselves."
Kenji nodded, "I'll read Itachi-sama."
And the very next moment, both Uchiha Kenji and Uchiha Tanaka fell into a deep sleep, all while standing in their positions. From beginning to end, neither of them noticed the third person standing behind Shursui and Itachi, nor did the two realize that they were under Jinjutsu from the moment they heard the sound of Itachi's footsteps. Noting the two asleep, Shursui said with an impressed expression, "Voice-induced Jinjutsu, huh?" Itachi nodded. "Yes. I used the sound of my footsteps as a medium to disturb Kenji-san and Tanka-san's chakra, then used my voice as the command to mind control the two into putting them to sleep." Kuroto quirked his eyebrow and asked, "If I am not wrong, one of the partners of Zabuza during the Kirigakure coup d'etat used such type of voice-induced Jinjutsu, right?" Itachi nodded. "Yes, this Jinjutsu is called Demonic Genjutsu, Cajolery of Glamour, and it was used by a Kirigakure shinobi named Gengo. His use of Genjutsu piqued my interest as it is quite similar to Shursui-san's Koto Amitsukami, although much weaker. After I had captured him and went through his memories, I learned quite a lot about voice-induced Genjutsu and its potential. The current him was not much proficient in this form of Genjutsu, but its potential cannot be denied. It can take many by a surprise who are vigilant against the Sharingan." Kuroto and Shursui nodded in understanding. Sharingan is a fear of many, and they train specifically in order to avoid being trapped in a Genjutsu. Might Guy is one such example, in which case sound-induced Genjutsu would work wonders against such fellows. After all, nobody would think that an Uchiha with the Sharingan would use sound-induced Genjutsu, rather than a visual Genjutsu. Itachi continued, "In any case, now that the coast is clear, we can go inside the Naka Shrine. I will also spread my crows in the surroundings to keep watch for anyone else coming here, so we can search for what we are here for without any worry." Kuroto and Shursui nodded and proceeded towards the inner hall of Naka Shrine. There was no other guard in the main hall, so Kuroto went unimpeded all the way as if strolling through his back garden, and soon arrived at the secret underground meeting place of the Uchiha clan. Beneath the 7th tatami mat from the far right, looking at the stone tablet in front of him, Kuroto muttered lightly. So this stone tablet is the cause of all the problems? This stone tablet was left behind by Rikudo Sannin in order to discourage the descendants of Otsutsuki Indra from attempting to recreate the Rinnegan, but because it was tempered by Black Zetsu, so it can be said to be the cause of all the problems. After all, if Madara had not read the stone tablet, he wouldn't have chosen to leave Konoha and proceeded with Project Tsukinomi, so it wouldn't be wrong to say that this stone tablet is truly one of the greatest causes of all the problems. At this moment, Itachi arrived after spreading his crows, then said, "The stone tablet can be deciphered by the Sharingan and the Manjikyu Sharingan, but even me or Shursui-san cannot fully decipher it, as we would most likely need a higher level of visual prowess for it. Kuroto-san, do you need me to decipher it?" Kuroto shook his head. "There's no need. There's no need," said Kuroto as his Byakugan turned into the Tenseigan. Looking at that royal blue dojutsu with a white floral pattern in Kuroto's eyes, and feeling the power emanating from them, even the always calm and collected Uchiha Itachi felt waves in his heart. Shursui patted his shoulder and explained, "That's the Tenseigan, a dojutsu above the Byakugan. You do remember what Tsukihai-san told us, right?" Itachi nodded. "Yes, Tenseigan, a dojutsu that can rival the Rinnegan." In the Summit War at Amigakure, while fighting against Konin, Itachi did see quite a few abilities of Kuroto, but this is the first time he has seen the dojutsu itself, and he could feel the power that it contains, although he doesn't really have much of an understanding of Tenseigan given that he has only once seen Kuroto using its powers. And this is also reasonable because Kuroto rarely uses his Tenseigan these days. After all, there are very few enemies who could force him to have to use the Tenseigan. Besides, the current Kuroto's Byakugan is also one of the purest, so using only the Byakugan is more than enough for completing most of the Umbu missions. Kuroto ignored Shursui and Itachi's discussion and focused on deciphering the stone tablet in front of him. For him, who has the Tenseigan, the stone tablet can obviously be deciphered without any issue. After all, the key point is the visual prowess, and in the face of the visual prowess of the Tenseigan, the entire stone tablet was deciphered quite easily. After reading the content of the stone tablet, Kuroto sighed. It really is one of the two major causes of all the problems the Uchiha clan experienced and is still experiencing. According to Kuroto, the content of the stone tablet can be roughly divided into 4 parts. And the higher the visual prowess of the reader, the more parts of the stone tablet they can decipher. The first part is sort of a fairy tale. It mentions the story of Otsutsuki Kagaya, who ate the fruit from the Shinju and became the first human to bear chakra. Then using that power she calmed the troubled times, unified the world, and later gave birth to a child. Although it contains a lot of information, for the most part, it is of little significance to the present and can be read by those with the 3 Tomo Sharingan. The second part has some more important content. It mentions the story of the son of Otsutsuki Kagaya, who became the first human naturally born with chakra. He defeated the violent Shinju turned Jubi and came to be known as Rikudo Sannin. Later he spread the creed and teachings of Ninshu, becoming the forefather of all shinobi. It then states some of the secrets of Manjikyu Sharingan, the method of obtaining it and how it can be used to control any of the 9 Bijou. It also states the regrets of Rikudo Sannin, the worries he had for the future of the shinobi world and the Uchiha clan. This part clearly points out that the Uchiha clan are the descendants of Rikudo Sannin, and is perhaps one of the key reasons for the inborn arrogance of the Uchiha clan. In addition to having the extraordinary chakra that the Sharingan grants to the Uchiha, the words left by Rikudo Sannin on the stone tablet may also have a certain influence on the mindset of the Uchiha clan and ingrains them to have a natural superiority when compared to others. After all, when an Uchiha gets to learn that he is a descendant of Rikudo Sannin, the forefather of all shinobi kind, he would obviously be subconsciously proud of his ancestry and his origins, thus giving birth to natural superiority and arrogance towards others of not-so-superior ancestry. Then there is the third part, and Kuroto can guess that it can't be deciphered with the ordinary Manjikyu Sharingan. The reader either needs the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan or probably the Manjikyu Sharingan with a very high visual prowess that can match up to the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. The third part records very little content and can be easily summed up in a single line. Seeking stability, one god was divided into yin and yang. These opposing 2 acting together obtain all things in creation. The meaning of this line is very simple, but it actually has 2 meanings. One is the true meaning and the other one is the meaning that Uchiha Madara and perhaps most Uchiha perceived. That is, only by combining the yin of the Uchiha clan and the yang of the Senju clan can the chakra of Rikudo Sannin be obtained, which is ultimately the Rinnegan. Although this is not wrong, it is not the correct meaning either. Originally, the intent of leaving behind the stone tablet was to discourage the Uchiha from awakening the Rinnegan. Rikudo Sannin actually hoped that the Uchiha clan will realize that only when the Uchiha and Senju unite, that is, the Uchiha's reconciliation with the Senju clan will truly save the Uchiha clan and the shinobi world. Madara obviously misunderstood the underlying meaning, which is why the Battle of the Valley of the End took place. Madara may have lost the battle, but he completed his objective and gained the Yang chakra of the Senju clan. More specifically, the Yang chakra of Azura that resided within Shodame Hokage. Therefore, he managed to combine the yin and yang and obtain the Rinnegan that represented the power of all creation. Then finally there is the fourth part, which mentions the sealed Kagaya and the concern of Rikudo Sannin towards the other Otsutsuki clan members. Obviously, Rikudo Sannin did not know much about the Otsutsuki clan, but he still feared the origins of his mother, the warning regarding her infinite Tsukuyumi, and the possible reasons for using it. Looking at the whole content from a bystander's point of view, Kuroto might as well regard the stone tablet as the last words or death wish of Rikudo Sannin to his son Otsutsuki Indra, and Indra's later descendants. It not only tells the origin of the Uchiha clan, but there is also mention of chakra fruit, Shinju, and Jubi, important information about Yin and Yang, the method of awakening the Rinnegan, and finally the sealed Kagaya. Warning regarding Kagaya's infinite Tsukuyumi, the misfortune that Sharingan brings, and a few other minor details. Of course, this is all the content that Kuroto has deciphered after removing and re-editing all the information related to Project Tsukinomi. Black Zetsu cleverly made changes to the stone tablet, and what was supposed to be a warning regarding Kagaya's infinite Tsukuyumi has turned into the only jutsu that can save the Uchiha clan and the shinobi world. This part recorded, when someone who possesses the power of samsara approaches the moon, an eye will open that is reflected on the moon to grant the eternal dream, which is basically the instructions to perform the infinite Tsukuyumi, and all of this was attributed to Rikudo Sennin's method of saving the Uchiha clan. At that time, Madara was emotionally agitated because of the death of his younger brother Izuna, whom he deeply cared about, and had just awakened the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. So when he deciphered the stone tablet up to here, there were obviously waves in his heart. Later Madara realized that forming the village won't lead to true peace, thus his conflicts with the Shodaime started. He tried to convince the Uchiha clan to leave Konoha, but no one chose to follow him. Betrayed by the shinobi of his own clan whom he protected for all those years, Madara left the village alone, determined to complete the project Tsukinomi and bring true peace to the shinobi world. It's a pity, thought Kuroto, but didn't really care too much. After regaining his gaze, Kuroto did not care much about the stone tablet, but he still had a few doubts in his heart. Black Zetsu neither has the Sharingan, nor the Rinnegan or any other dojutsu of the same level, yet he can decipher the stone tablet and also edit the inscriptions without leaving behind any traces, and this is quite puzzling. If not for the fact that Kuroto had known the truth beforehand, even he would have been confused and swayed into believing it to be true. Does that mean Kagaya, the creator of Black Zetsu, also gave him a port to her own powers? Kuroto can't help but make such a guess. The reason for this guess is also thought about a little, because even with the Tenseigan, Kuroto knows that he can't change anything in the stone tablet. But Zetsu, who has no dojutsu, can do it, so it can only be attributed to Kagaya's power in Black Zetsu. And it's very likely that Kuroto's guess is true, that is to say, Kagaya's chakra is indeed sealed inside Black Zetsu. Although Kuroto can't be sure how much of that chakra is still left given that almost a millennium has passed, but there has to be Kagaya's chakra still present inside him. Otherwise, how else did he manage to succeed in his sneak attack on Madara?